Fasten your seatbelts, because this history lesson is about to get strange. Okay, picture this. It's 1518, you're strolling through Strasbourg, and suddenly, bam! People are dancing in the streets. Not just a little jig, I'm talking full-on, non-stop grooving for days. This wasn't some flash mob, folks, it was the dancing plague. Hundreds of people were hit with this uncontrollable urge to dance. Some even boogied themselves to exhaustion. Doctors were baffled. Was it mass hysteria? A weird case of food poisoning? We might never know, but it's definitely a historical head-scratcher, am I right? You've heard of the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, but get ready for the Great Emu War. In 1931, Australia decided to declare war on emus. Yes, those big flightless birds. Why? Well, these feathered fiends were wreaking havoc on crops. The solution? Machine guns. But here's the plot twist. The emus were surprisingly good at dodging bullets. They basically outmaneuvered the army. Australia tried again, but the emus stood their ground. It was a victory for birds everywhere. Proof that sometimes even the mightiest armies can be defeated by, well, emus. Hold on to your time-turner necklaces because this one's a doozy. Cleopatra, the iconic Egyptian queen, might have been a time traveler, or at least she might have owned a time machine. Okay, hear me out. Archaeologists discovered a strange device in what's believed to be Cleopatra's private chamber. It's a circular contraption with intricate markings, some even resembling constellations. Some historians believe it was an early attempt at a time-measuring device, possibly even a rudimentary time machine. Could Cleopatra have cracked the code of time travel? We may never know, but it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Talk about a trial from beyond the grave. In the year 897, Pope Formosus was already 6 feet under when he was put on trial by his successor, Pope Stephen VI. Why? Well, Stephen had some issues with Formosus's policies. So he had Formosus's corpse exhumed, dressed in papal robes, and propped up on a throne for the trial. It gets weirder. Stephen even assigned a deacon to speak on behalf of the dead pope. The verdict? Guilty, of course. Formosus's body was mutilated and tossed in the Tiber River. Talk about holding a grudge. Calling all beer lovers. This one's for you, or maybe not. In 1814, London experienced a disaster of epic and slightly sticky proportions. A beer flood. A giant vat at the Moose Brewery containing over 1 million litres of beer decided to burst. The result? A tsunami of beer surged through the streets, destroying buildings and sadly killing 8 people. This wasn't a river of deliciousness, though. It was a fermented, unsanitary mess. The smell must have been interesting. Coffee lovers, brace yourselves. In 16th century Mecca, coffee was considered so controversial that it was actually banned. Can you imagine a world without your morning latte? The governor at the time thought coffee made people too rebellious and energized. He even called it the devil's drink. He shut down coffee houses, confiscated beans, and even threatened coffee drinkers. Thankfully, the ban didn't last long. People loved their caffeine, and eventually, coffee won out. Chapter 7. The War of the Stray Dog, a Border Collie. Almost started an international incident? Hold on to your leashes because this one's a wild one. In 1925, a stray dog almost sparked a war between Greece and Bulgaria. It all went down when a Greek soldier's dog decided to go on an adventure across the border into Bulgaria. The soldier chased after his furry friend, and things escalated quickly. Shots were fired, borders were closed, and both countries were on the brink of war. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. The League of Nations stepped in, tensions cooled, and the dog, well, it's rumoured he lived happily ever after, blissfully unaware of the international incident he almost caused. Chapter 8. The Great Molasses Flood. A sticky situation turns deadly. Get ready for a story that's both tragic and bizarre. In 1919, Boston was hit by a wave of molasses. Yeah, you heard that right. A massive tank filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses burst open, unleashing a sticky tsunami on the city. The wave of molasses, traveling at 35 miles per hour, was powerful enough to knock down buildings and even bend steel beams. The disaster tragically took the lives of 21 people and injured over 150. It took weeks to clean up the sticky mess, and the smell of molasses lingered in the air for months. Chapter 9. The Pig War. This border dispute was hog wild. Move over, Hatfields and McCoys, because this rivalry was over a pig. In 1859, tensions between the United States and Great Britain were running high over a tiny island in the San Juan Islands. The last straw? An American farmer shot a pig belonging to a British employee of the Hudson's Bay Company. This seemingly minor incident sparked a military standoff. Both sides sent troops, and for months they faced off, thankfully without any bloodshed. In the end, the pig war was resolved peacefully through arbitration. The island was awarded to the US, proving that sometimes even the silliest disputes can almost lead to war. Chapter 10. Tulip Mania. These flowers were worth more than gold. Hold on to your wallets because this historical event is about to burst your bubble. In the 17th century, the Netherlands went crazy for tulips, and I mean crazy. It was a time known as Tulip Mania. People were obsessed with these colourful flowers, paying exorbitant prices for a single bulb. Some tulips were even worth more than houses. It was the world's first recorded economic bubble. People invested their life savings in tulips, convinced they would get rich. But like all bubbles, it eventually burst, leaving countless people bankrupt. Remember, folks, a tulip is just a flower, no matter how pretty it is. Outro. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these strange historical facts, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating content. See you next time.